Welcome to the Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show we'll have a talk about Linux projects such as a distribution, desktop environment, or application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community. Anything that is Linux tech and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, a Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. And with me today, I got Swift, Jinda, Eris, and Chris, also known as Mr. Mate. But I think
Yes.
I think he changes his moniker like weekly. It's kind of a thing.
No, it was
No,
Mr. Mate last week. Yep.
was it Mr. Mate last week?
hmm
Oh, I'll take your word for
Yeah.
it. I will take your word for
hmm
it. Well, be sure to do the straw poll if you have not done so. It's a self assessment on do you consider yourself a technical user or not. So if you knock that out, that'd be pretty cool. So on the docket for today, we're going to talk about that straw poll, do our open mic night, do a little housekeeping, and last call. But first, what have you been doing in Linux and tech? Eris, sounds like you've been having some fun here with your mobile. So you said you got an update for Lineage OS. How did that shake out?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, they updated their version of Android. They were based on the second to last or the second to latest
Okay.
Android 13, and now they updated to Android 14. Um, and you have to update it through the computer. Like you can't get it like over the air. Like you can get security patches through the over the air, where
Okay.
it's simple. You just download them and restart the phone. But this you would have to kind of do the same way you install Lineage, and you have to have ADB installed,
Okay.
and there's simple instructions they give you on how to do it, and you place the phone like on recovery mode, and then you give them the file, it does it, and then depending on how you have it set up, because by default Lineage doesn't have Google services, and you have the option of putting in I think it's called micro G, which is like an alternative to installing Google services. You can get some of the functionality that Google services gives you,
Hmm.
but maybe with a more private more privacy than by default.
I got you.
Or you can just not have anything like that and just use an alternative app store
Like
instead of
F-Droid?
like the Google Play Store. Yeah,
Yeah.
to get your apps. Or if you want, you can download the Google services and install that also.
So what do
And
you do?
I actually I haven't tried using it with the micro G. Uh, I hadn't had this Lineage OS for a long time, but I just decided just for simpleness I was going to try it with the Google services. So once you install Lineage OS the first time, uh, you have to make sure to go back into the recovery mode and then install right away the Google services. Because if you actually after once you're installing the operating system and you start it up and you didn't install first the Google services, you can't do it anymore. You must do it right at the beginning. So I did that, and then when you're upgrading to the next version of Lineage, you also have to remember to put it back in. Otherwise, you're gonna break things.
Hmm. So
Um,
what phone are you using?
I have a OnePlus something. I think is the fajita version because every version of OnePlus, it's like a food name,
Okay.
and I think mine is like a fajita. I think it's like a 5T or a 6 something. I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's an old phone, but I mean I'm still getting. I have a Android 14 right now.
And is the are you pretty happy with its performance?
Yeah, it seems I don't know if it's Android itself that's seems pretty light, but I mean it doesn't stutter at all. Part of the good thing about the OnePlus is that I think until recently it was a 1080p screen, and I think for some time there was a lot of a big push to have like 1440p screens and other things, and that really like brings down your battery and
Hmm.
it's like a weight to your performance unless you have a really good chip. And I think because it has a 1080p, I think it has survived and it hasn't like degraded as much in speed.
So I have a Moto G Power 2021. That's my personal phone, and I it is so laggy and slow as of late. I'm not sure why. It's not like it's poorly spec'd, but like it's like when I ask it to do something, it just thinks about it for a while. I'm strongly considering rooting this and putting Lineage or something on it, but I haven't. I don't know, I just haven't messed with Lineage for a few years. I wasn't sure if what the experience is like. I guess.
You just have to make sure to read all the steps. Like it says, please read everything before you try doing it and then do it or whatever. Just make sure you go step by step, go slowly, and of course back up your information just in case something bad happens. But I mean, it's a little weird because I did notice it said that while installing the operating system, it might not give you 100% completion, and that they say that's normal. That depends per device. I think I got like 42, but that doesn't matter. I guess it's like a bug. It just doesn't show the correct percentage, but it does finish installing correctly.
Then what is the G Pure? Is that the next up? I don't use this one anymore.
G Pure.
Yeah, the G Pure
I never heard of that phone. What kind of company is that?
Motorola.
Oh,
See, it's got
Motorola.
the Motorola logo. Yep. That must be like the next up, Power Pure, G Pure or whatever. Yeah.
So I kind of wonder if I am like a phone user. I use my phone much like most people use computers, and I don't care enough. If does that sound like it makes any sense? Like I'm
I
very
think
enthusiastic about Linux and putting it on a computer. But like my phone, I'm like, meh, it's just a phone. But
I
that
think I'm kind of the same way. Like my phone, like I try to put as little as possible on it. Like I don't know how to say this, but I don't trust like I don't want to have my banking information like people do like their mobile banking through the phone. I don't like doing that.
it's the only way I
Um
can deposit checks.
yeah, I know. I
And
guess for some things you have to,
Uh huh.
but I don't even have it on my phone. I have it like on a tablet instead. I rather have the tablet have it than the phone.
oh
Um
wow.
yeah.
I
But
use the mobile app.
Yeah, I try to avoid installing any apps on it. Like I rather do everything through the web as much as
Mm.
possible.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I typically use for any banking stuff. Like I don't just uh, I have to use the phone for my bank because of depositing checks. I don't do that very often,
Yeah,
but
that's
normally,
some banks won't let you on the other way.
yeah, I use my computer for everything else though. So
Oh
yeah,
wow.
but
And it's kind of like you say, it's kind of weird because most people it's like the complete opposite. They might not even own a computer and but they do everything through their phone.
right.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to look at Lineage OS because I'm so frustrated right now with my Moto G Power for quite some time actually. So I should
There
probably
there are other operating systems that give you more privacy and other perks. But the problem usually with comparatively is that Lineage OS has a lot more support for a lot more devices. And usually for the other OSs, you're gonna have to use like a Google phone. That's most other operating systems don't support only Google phones. And they might have one or two more phones, but that's about it. You
gotcha.
need a Pixel.
Yeah, I have a Pixel 7 for my work phone. That one seems to be pretty decent.
That's what I have, the Pixel 7, I mean.
Yeah, I guess let's look into that. So, what I mean, if it's working well for you, it might be what I need to do just to make life a little better for me over here. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Eris. And I guess to Swift, you're gonna say something? You held up a thing.
I have a pretty cool device, the Surface Duo,
Oh, okay. Tell me about it.
to have. It's just very delicate, and I got a little bit of water on the screen today, and started getting the whole green uh, issue on the screen. Looks like that.
Just from a little water.
And I'll see how time
Hmm.
goes with that. But it's one of those devices that's hard to get and definitely hard to repair.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd like to see the folding screen become something a little more ubiquitous. Like it's just a thing and easy to come by because that's a really neat idea. I think. I mean, I don't know how practical it is, but it seems like a really neat idea.
It
Well,
is.
we looked into that, and I've heard that people with the razors, the screen brackets break on them real easy. You know, when you shut it, the hinges is what I'm trying to say. The hinges, yeah, and that they see them come in like all the time to the repair shops. I don't know.
Hmm.
These hinges are they're really good on this device. It's very smooth opening and closing is a dream. That's what I appreciate about it in particular.
Yeah, I get that for sure. The someone I know had the Moto Razor, the new Moto Razor, and
Yeah,
I actually really liked it. I thought it was a really nice device. It felt good in the hand. She said it was like her second or third one because it had some recalls, whatever, for the early ones. But this one
hmm.
she'd had for a while, and the hinge was very smooth. I imagined it to be a little bit weird, but actually I thought it was pretty great. I mean,
I
even
thought
if
the one
go ahead.
I thought the ones that open like a book are weird. They open like that. I forget which model
Yeah,
that is.
like the Surface Go there. My question would be like,
Yeah,
how do you play Pokemon Go on a phone like that? That's the real question. I think everyone wants to know. Play it like that?
kind of like that.
I've seen some people where pretty much the controls will show up on the bottom screen and you're looking up top with the picture that's moving. That's what's going on. Or even if they have a gamepad that goes on to the side of the actual uh, phone, and then you can play it that way. It's like almost like a Switch, to be honest with you. But
It's like a
Oh, okay.
It's like a Nintendo DS. Remember how you used
yeah, thank you.
the stylus in the bottom and the screen in the top is like where you look
Yeah,
at it.
the little
So
side.
basically like your keyboards at the on the bottom screen, and then the top is whatever you have
Depending on how
open.
you set it up, you can have your controls on the bottom screen,
Hmm.
like this, like what you're
Hmm.
doing, or you
Right.
can have another device that goes on the side of it, and those are your controllers on the side.
Oh,
If that makes
that's
sense.
neat.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
saw videos of that yesterday, and that made me like this device as well. Part of the reason this device is sought after is because it's great for emulation and all that stuff. So people are using it for games because it's very enjoyable, like a DS. Just
Right. And I don't know if Vince is here. I don't have the chat open, but I saw the logo on the back of that Swift, and you are banned. Windows logo, you are banned.
it is
Yep.
Windows. It's running Android.
Oh.
They had like a weird partnership that they got together to make the device, and then apparently
Hmm.
somebody had a falling out, and they was like, "Whoop, no more partnership. I don't like you. You don't like me. Bye."
Wow. Oh, and the phone I was talking about is the Galaxy Z Fold. Is the one that folds like a book.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a while to get used to the idea of being able to use an Apple on one side and a different one on the other. But once you
Hmm.
get it, it's like, oh my goodness, it's like, why didn't I do this before?
I
Oh.
know it took me a while to get used to going from Apple back to Android again.
Oh, I can
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took me a while to get used to this device, but I'm glad to have it despite what's going on with it now.
You know, I always wanted a BlackBerry, but waited too late. Ugh,
Wow.
I wish the
yes,
Blackberries would come back.
I mean, they
I
were
do
cool looking
too.
back then, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I,
I
I
do
would
too.
I would like an
Crackerberry.
uh yeah. I would like another alternative like mobile OS that actually chomped away at the market a little bit. But
What to do.
that's
Speaking of blackberries and Michigan, I saw on Twitter that Eminem still uses a BlackBerry, even though nothing works on it anymore. He still uses a BlackBerry. I'm like, really?
good for him.
Yep, yep.
Wait,
He's old now.
Even though everything's dead on it,
I are you sure he's
Well,
old?
you forget about Dre. That's what happens.
Yeah, isn't he like in his 50s?
who? Eminem?
He's
Yeah.
but you can't be in your 50s and be called Slim Shady. That's just not that just doesn't work for me. He's got to be
Yeah.
like forever, in his 30s or
Gotta
40s.
get close to it, though. Um,
Actually, he's 51.
Well,
oh,
let's not look up what the facts are. I just want to live in fantasy land, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
you keep going.
wow. I would have gave him like 47 or 48, maybe.
Nope, 51. He'll be
Wow.
he'll be 52 in October. Yeah.
I
Damn.
think he
And he
had
was
work.
born in Missouri,
I
not
think
Michigan.
I think he had work done because his
Impact
face
got
looks a
good.
little bit different now than it used to look.
Mm-hmm.
Little work done.
Yeah. Is it good genes or is it good work? Yeah.
Wow, 51. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty wild.
But yeah. But I just wish BlackBerry hadn't have gone out of business.
Did they go out?
Remember the other company?
Did they go
Not
out of
a phone
business?
company, but they had those devices for a little bit. The tablet, um, it was some kind of open source, something like that. Years ago, it came out a while ago.
Yeah, they were putting Android on Blackberries right before they went out of business.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that other OS that went out? That was not Palm.
WebOS,
What's
Oh.
that?
WebOS.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, WebOS was great too.
I never did get on that band.
I never heard of that. I know they were putting the last time they put out Android. I mean, Blackberries. They had Android or OS on them because they had.
WebOS was more advanced than Android and iPhone when it came out.
Oh
And
wow.
and a lot of things that we know from iPhone and like Android, it comes from WebOS. They took their ideas.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, what can you do?
It was another Xerox moment.
Yeah. The HP really messed that up. That could have been a wonderful thing.
It
Huh.
still exists, but it's just not in phones, I guess.
Yeah. What can you do? What can you do? Well, all right. I guess we should probably get to that straw poll. If you have not done the straw poll yet, I got a few moments to eke in a vote there. It's do you consider yourself a technical user? And Eris, do you consider yourself a technical user?
I think I would have to say yes.
Yeah, probably. So how'd that poll turn out?
Let me refresh one this time.
I should have changed my answer to Tux Penguin. When it comes to that other OS, yes. But when it comes to this OS, no.
So I'll start by reading the responses. The first response I got was an other, and it said I can both break and unbreak my system usually, but I have to research like a madman most of the time. And then somebody else said, I would assume my answer is yes to the query of being a technical user. Some assumptions baked into the query. You know how to search for solutions. You know how to use terminal. You know what Stack Overflow is, and other assumptions. And then somebody says, I voted yes, but I would like to remain humble and acknowledge that there are vast fields of things that I really don't know much about. And as far as the poll, the number one answer was absolutely 64%, followed by nope, 12%. Other was 12% as well. 8% for not sure, and 4% for Tux Penguin.
Good old Tux Penguin. So I thought about this for a little while. I didn't just say absolutely because I thought, like, what does technical user mean? And does it mean something different for different people? So for me, and I like the fact that you just left it technical user and didn't specify, because it kind of makes you think, and it's a great discussion point, springboard, I say. So I would consider myself technical because I'm a technology enthusiast and I like to dig into things and understand it. But I also recognize the fact that I know almost nothing. Like I'm just like I'm just like one step away from being a complete noob. I feel like.
But
So
but you're way ahead though, if you think about it, because you do acknowledge that you don't know. Some people think they do know, but they don't know.
Good point.
well, I kind of feel like learning technology is like skiing, but like skiing uphill. So it's a lot of work. But skiing uphill during an avalanche, because I feel like I'm getting buried every time I try and learn something new. So at least that's
I
how
can
I feel.
I can unbrick my computer too. It's called you insert this, you can pave.
Yeah. See, there we go.
Yep, there you go. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was a fun poll just based on that. I yeah. I absolutely think I'm technical, but I think I'm uh, technically incompetent as well in many ways.
I would say that I'm a technical user because if nothing else, when I go use something, I always go after initially trying it. I look at the options, and I think most people don't look at that. Don't look at other options you can click and unset and set, and I think that makes me a technical user.
Yeah. The I think the installer I prefer to use, the OpenSUSE installer, which I know people complain about it. But I like it because it gives me just enough control to configure it the way I want, but not so broad and ambiguous that I get lost in the sauce. So it's kind of somewhere in the middle there for me.
It's so powerful. Like you can add things to it, take away software, take away those patterns that make sure you have that as software and like force you to have it even if you delete it. You can take off
Yeah.
grub. So many things. Like at first glance, when I first used the OpenSUSE installer, I'm like, where are the settings? And then I didn't know you can click on it and like actually change those settings.
Yeah. So some comments here from the YouTube. So Guru the Digital says, I've read that this is sort of like the Dunning-Kruger effect. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know, which makes you feel more like a noob. Yeah, I would say that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Anderson says, a whole bunch of my friends I had never heard of Linux, and they would call me a techie guy. Well, Steven Anderson, you also tune in, if you want to use that term, to Linux Saloon on YouTube on a Saturday night, or Saturday night for me. That's not exactly the media consumption of someone who's not a technic. It's not a very technical user, or that is. I'm stumbling over my words. This is not something that a non-technical user I think would want to listen to.
True.
So, oh, it's just jumped on me. So Leo says, I'm a technical user because I run BTOP in the terminal because it's pretty and the nerd cred. Wait, is BTOP the new hotness? Is that what we're using now? Because there's like,
Well, it's just H-top a little nicer.
well, yeah, but there's shoot.
There's a bunch of other ones now too.
Well, there was like, so HTOP was the first one, and then there was like PyTop, and then BPyTop, and then there's all these different
Yeah.
tops. And actually, I wrote about some of them. So let me see if I can find one.
Yeah, that BPY top or something. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
I've heard of that before.
Oh, and then there's Bash Top too.
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh, there's a Bash Top, then BPyTop. Now maybe it's BTop? I don't know. I can't. Yeah, BTop.
But
I
no
guess.
love for just top, huh?
Listen, it's not 2011 anymore. We don't run top.
But it's always there. It's always there. You don't have to install it. It's always
It's true.
there.
That's true. I don't think I've run top in a while.
CCJ. Oh, sorry. I run ZZ Top.
So then is BTop, Leo, is BTop the successor to BPyTop? I gotta look now.
I just use H Top.
HTop's nice. I think that's also
Mhm.
installed by default, I think.
No, I had to install it every OS I've used. Like
there's-
SUSE.
Wait, it looks like there's
Ubuntu.
BTop plus plus. It might be the new hotness now.
Oh, plus plus.
Ubuntu comes with HTOP.
Oh, does it? Oh.
DistroTube makes a big deal out of that. That it came with HTOP and it comes with Vim.
Hmm.
All right. So in case we all want to know. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Leo, you probably need to do a history on the different tops for Linux user space. So you've done everything else. You may as well do the history of top, then HTOP, and then now the evolution since then. And it's the rapid successions. Like, what's going on here? I don't know, but I like it. Ooh, and they have a BTOP for Win. That's cool, I think. We can talk about that on the Windows Saloon here next, I suppose. So I wonder what is the difference between BTOP and BPyTop, I wonder.
Oh, wow. I just installed BTOP. Oh, that's neat. Oh, wow. It's like graphical.
Yeah,
Oh,
terminal
that's
graphics,
cool.
but yeah.
Terminal
Mhm.
graphics.
What kind of graphics?
Terminal
Terminal
graphics.
graphics.
Yeah.
So that's fun. So let's see. The latest release came out this year?
Last month.
Last month. Sweet. All right, we'll have to look into that. I think it's exciting. Yet another top. I used to call it yet
Yeah.
another top.
Much better.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Something like that. Yeah.
Yay top.
Yay top. There you
There we
go.
go. Yeah, I'll call it yay top. That's fun. So Chris, then would you consider yourself a technical user?
No. Well, when it comes to Linux, no. Windows, yes. I can do like everything. But this, I'm still learning. Yeah. This OS, I mean.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Adam, you can try again if you want. Just like open up a computer and like punch one of your RAM sticks. That might help.
Go install XP now. Slower computer.
Just in case.
Go
you have to do-
install Win2K.
What about you,
It'd
Jinda?
be-
You're an engineer.
Yeah, but I'm a mechanical engineer, so that's a little different.
Don't you have to be technical in general to be a engineer?
I would think so, but to me, I don't feel very technical.
Yeah.
Engineer, you use that big plotting machine, right?
No, they haven't done plotting machines in, oh God, 30,
Oh,
35 years.
oh
I
God! When I was in high school, we were forced to take computer classes, and one of the modules, and what a module is like each computer. It was like in a octagon. And it was like four different computers, and it was all different things. Like um, I don't remember now, but one of them was AutoCAD, and I had to learn that in 2002. No, it was 1999. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, AutoCAD. With that machine, you punch it in, and then it prints out on that big paper, machine.
We usually just use a regular printer. We only go 11 by 17.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
this,
faster, it's quicker.
yeah,
It I try to draw the stuff as simplistically as I can to get the prints out.
yeah. That thing you had to let it warm up, and then it took forever
Right.
to print. Yeah. Hmm.
Good stuff.
I just dated myself, I think. Yep.
Well, I could too. So
Well, here I'll date
I did.
myself. When I started in doing the whole down the drafting design, mechanical design field, my first college class, I actually drew lines on vellum, and I had to put it through. I forget what the
yeah,
machine was, but it smelled like
you got to
vinegar.
put it through a blueprint machine.
Yeah,
You got to
blueprint
go
machine.
through
Yeah,
a blueprint
yeah, create a blueprint.
Smelled like
with a light to make sure it made a copy of it.
Yeah,
smelled like vinegar.
yeah, it was it's
Yeah,
an
it kind of
interesting
stunk.
process. Yeah, it was
Ooh.
vinegar. Vinegar is a very useful thing. But anyway, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was my early experience, and then when we started going digital, that was fun. I actually got pretty good with the first AutoCAD making. I really enjoyed like the my OCD loved making the lines perfect. It was great
Oh,
on the plots on the plot. Yeah, the whatever, and then going to like 3D design. Then I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best. So
put it this way. In 2002, my school was still using Windows 98, and we had the printers that had the little things you tear off on the side, the dot matrix.
oh yeah
Yeah.
with the little tractor.
Yeah.
The tractor
And
paper, I think
it
it's called.
burr. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. We were
Cool.
still using 98 when XP was already out. That's so sad.
I think 98 is pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the Windows Show. No, just kidding.
All right. So on that bombshell, Brian,
oh wow.
welcome.
Hey,
So
how
you're
you guys
probably
doing?
great. You're probably one of the most technical users I do know.
Who, me?
I don't know if that. I don't
Or
know.
Brian.
I don't know
Brian.
if that's all true.
Well, I don't know very many people that
I-
want to reprogram their switch, build their own kernel for their switch. So that's kind of
Oh
Uh,
wow.
But I
Network
feel
switch.
like, dude, there's so much that I don't know. I don't know how to do it. There's,
well. I mean, what are you getting to tell me the parts of memory that the U-boot loads? Actually, honestly, every time I see like number X and then a string of numbers, like a part of me kind of glazes over.
yeah. I know the exact feeling you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're just like, I gotta skip that whole section. I have no clue. Yeah.
It's like, what does that mean? That's
Yeah.
reminds me of the time I went to learn assembly code on a 6502 processor. Didn't get very far.
Right. So that's the only reason I know a little bit about what I'm doing is probably about a decade ago, I read a quick guide of like, this is how you would make an emulator, and something clicked. And I was like, oh, that all makes sense. So it's the same thing.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
there's a guy I like to watch. I think it's 8-bit show and tell. He goes through and he'll like dissect these old games or do stuff like in assembly code, and he explains how what the different codes and how they jump at different registers and parts of memory and everything else on the computer. And and it's like, how can you remember that? Like how is that? How is it something you can actually keep and retain? Like, and that, to me, it's just amazing that he can look at the code and see what it's doing. Anyway, to me, it's just an amazing, fascinating skill. That's
Yeah, dude, I could never claim to be anywhere good at that. But, well, at least on the 6502, which is old school, there's only a handful of instructions, and then there's a bunch of variants of each instruction, but they all have the same pattern. So once you learn like 10 instructions, everything else kind of falls into place, and I can see how people could get good at it.
yeah. Well, what I think is amazing is what they're able, because they've mapped out the entire architecture so well now with emulation and everything else. The things that they can extract out of an 8-bit computer, to me, is just phenomenal. So yeah, crazy. Don't know how they do it.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna move on to the open mic night, which I guess it kind of feel like it is already. So Chris, you threw a really interesting article in the chat here. At least I thought it was interesting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is the looks like LXQt is going to be all Wayland this year. So the LXQt project announced today on a post on X that LXQt's desktop component PCMan FM Qt is now 100% ready for Wayland. A few weeks ago, the LXQt dev published some details about the development state of the next major release, LXQt 2.0, stating that while many LXQt apps and components are already working perfectly on Wayland, they plan to add some missing pieces to make the lightweight desktop environment 100% Wayland ready. Well, thanks to developers of Layer Shell Qt, a component designed for apps to be able to easily use clients based on the WLR Layer Shell protocol, LXQt's file and desktop icon manager, PCMan FM Qt, receives support for the Wayland display protocol according to this pull request. Previously, workarounds provided by some Wayland compositors like LabWC were needed to have a usable desktop on Wayland, said Sue Jan, or maybe Sue Jan, I don't know, LXQt developer. Now that Layer Shell Qt 6 has come to Arch, I prepared a patch that makes PCMan FM Qt desktop completely ready for Wayland. So full Wayland support will be one of the highlights of the LXQt 2.0 desktop environment, which is expected to see the light of day next month. However, the devs still need to iron out some issues to achieve full Wayland support for LXQt. The progress can be observed here, and I don't have a link. Another major change in LXQt 2 will be the port to the latest Qt 6 open source application framework, providing users with more modern UI UX as well as performance boosts compared to the current Qt 5 based release. So Qt 2 will also drop Qt 5 support completely. So that's pretty cool. And also good to know that Qt 6 is more performant than 5. So I wonder how they're doing that. No idea. But they are. So we don't have Dan here. I know Dan is Mr. LXQt with Lubuntu. I'd be interested to know how this is going to affect the next Lubuntu release, if they're ready for this, and how, like, where they are in their integration process. But I think that's pretty exciting. It's nice to see that there's another desktop environment that's not going to get left behind in the Wayland transition, like Mate probably will. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say like mine. Yeah.
So then XFCE, I'm sure will get the Wayland treatment. So would it be WFCE then?
So, dude, I was wondering about that. Are they going to change the name or keep it? I did read that huge portions of XFCE are ready, but there's pieces that are not ready. I couldn't tell you what those pieces are.
So the name
I hope they don't change the name.
so the name XFCE doesn't come from Xorg. It comes from Xforms, the toolkit that they used prior to using GTK.
Oh, okay.
So it's already been vestigial at this point anyway.
XWFCE. Oh.
So it should actually be GFCE, which actually doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, I think Wayland. If you were on the Wayland train at this point, I think it's already leaving the station. So we should probably.
Br- Breaking news: Leo said Mate is only one app away from full Wayland compatibility.
Yeah, but what does he know? It's not like he does a podcast where he goes in the history of things.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think there's remote desktop. I think I've talked about this previously, but like my big issue with Wayland was like the remote desktop ability because it uses portals for everything, like the opening up, those things. So the one problem I have with Wayland and like VNC is you can't go completely like I can't set up a machine to automatically boot, go into the desktop and be ready to go like with remote access. I mean, I probably could. I could probably add an automation to do that to actually click for me. But yeah, that's actually probably the one hang up. Actually, I'm sure Brian could figure it out. But there's when my system boots up, I want to have VNC ready. So I have to say I have to give it permission to share my screen. I can't. It just won't do it automatically. But anyway, and then I can do unattended access. But something has to trigger that initially. So anyway, hopefully that can all get worked out. Oh, there was a thread on Twix, Twitter, X. It was the Gerald, I think Pfeiffer is his name. He's I don't know if he still is, but he was on the OpenSUSE board, and so he was asking me questions about can you place windows in Wayland like you can in X. He was giving examples. No, you can't do that yet. So for him, that's a fundamental feature I've never used, but for him, it's a fundamental feature that's not available in Wayland. So it's interesting to see that the almost like exposing different ways people use their desktops, and then how things are being broken different ways and by changing the technology. I think that's very fascinating to me. I mean, irritating for some, obviously, but fascinating to me. So some exciting news. Microsoft will use Intel to manufacture homegrown processors. Anybody hear about this one? So Microsoft plans to use Intel's 18A manufacturing technology to make a forthcoming chip that the software maker designed in-house. The two companies said at an event Wednesday they didn't identify the project, but Microsoft recently announced plans for two homegrown chips, a computer processor and an artificial intelligence accelerator. So I wonder what they're going to put these things in. Just regular PCs? What do you suspect? Does that concern anybody? Does it excite anybody? Even?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what to think of it.
Have we moved
Yeah,
on
I
from
don't know what to think of it at all.
Yeah.
Because AI is a thought, but is that what they're going to be for? Or just some sort of lockdown, like, yeah, this can run whatever Windows is available for it, and that's it.
Well, if Microsoft's making it, of course it would.
Right.
It's yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. To me, when Microsoft makes anything, it's my initial thought is, okay, how long is it going to take before, non-Windows can use it, take advantage of it? Because I mean, just to have extra processing power would be kind of cool. Like, I know that's probably like what 5 years ago. It's like a big deal. Maybe longer, 6, 8 years ago. There was the management engine on the Intel processors. It's like a whole other CPU. And it's like of like 486 level or so or whatever that manages all the cores and all the different systems in the CPU. And I thought that was pretty amazing. And then I wondered, could that be used also to offload some tasks? You send some stuff to that CPU. That'd be really, light as far as what you could do, but might be really low. Another low power CPU. The big little technology, like big little and little, super little. But anyway, I guess nobody cares about that anymore. But it was a big deal. Like people wanted to disable the management engine or stuff like that for a while there because I don't know. Linux users be crazy sometimes. Maybe I'm the only one that remembers that. I know it was like
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. I remember the concern was that it's like a whole extra processor and operating system that you have no access to. So you would have no idea if it were being remotely accessed.
Right. I guess that's a concern right there. Like, could it have undetected access to different things that you just wouldn't know about, like phoning home and the like? And could you even screen
Right.
for that?
Yeah, I don't know. If it were phoning, yeah, I don't know. You'd have to have something on your network monitoring that if it were phoning home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'm sure if it was doing something nefarious, there would have already been open source people jumping up and down screaming about it by now. So obviously it wasn't doing anything nefarious.
Right. Now, I wonder if it reaches out for like automatic updates of any sort, where on its own, it's not nefarious. But if you were, someone who's being targeted by like a 3-letter agency, they
You're
could
right.
send an update to get access.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's actually a Weird Al song I just heard today. Party at the CIA. It made me laugh really hard. If you have not heard that, I highly recommend it. Weird Al is hilarious. And yeah, check that out. But yeah, I think it makes me wonder, like, how many vulnerabilities does my computer have because of all these things that it's doing, that it's just completely automated, behind the black box of the silicon chip that you just can't do anything to. Like could you have like a nefarious like firmware update or whatever that can then wedge something else in there and have your management engine do something else that could cause you issues. Like there's I forget what it was, but I was listening to something where some reporter, like, he would get a new phone every time he would travel overseas because somehow the country, like especially if it's a more authoritarian country, they could put things on the phone, and he knew this would happen because his phone would get slow and it'd eat through the battery very quickly. So that's when he knew something else was on the phone, so he'd get a new phone. And to me, I thought that was just wild. Like how can something remotely be just placed on a device like a phone? Like I don't know. Is it vulnerability in Apple,
Yep.
or is it just anything?
It's got to be some sort of 0-day, that the government knows about. Like there's a group out of Israel. I can't think of their name, but that's what they do, is target specific people because they have the ability to do that. And they're basically only hired by governments to do those things. What is that?
Yeah, that's wild.
I don't remember what they're called though, man.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, like, how vulnerable are you really?
The NSO group.
So is the
Yeah, I don't know. It's worth reading about sometime.
Yep.
It's interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's just put down NSO group. Yeah, that's I know, like, I mean, so how would one know if they have been compromised? It's kind of one of those. It's a tough thing, because even like Signal, I know, has been compromised by government actors as well. But it's probably not Signal necessarily. It's probably the phone, and then doing some screen scrapes. I imagine that'd probably be the easier way of doing it. I think compromise the end user. So, yeah, Pegasus is the product. Oh, Prophetic, he says this great book. If it's smart, it's vulnerable. Great read on the landscape of cyber. Yeah. I don't know. It almost all seems so dystopian at this point. I just don't want to think about it. Yeah, got to protect yourself. So most phones get updates once in a blue moon, but Linux and Windows are constantly getting them. Wonder what's more secure. Nothing. I think if it runs code, it's not. It's like doors are only made for to keep out doors are only there. Doors with locks only there to keep out honest people is the idea, I think. So, how honest are you? Because you can get in anything if you try hard enough. Yeah. Freda goes on and says, perfect mix of history of security and targets, major examples and catches people up who are walking into the space. So, well, I'm gonna have to look into that. Kind of rattle my my day a little bit. So if there's no Linux Saloon next week and you can't contact me online anymore, then you know what happened.
Yeah. All the tinfoil in your part of Michigan's missing.
Yeah.
Must be a big hat.
Yeah, it's a real shiny. Just like my entire property's got aluminum foil over the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all the houses are wrapped. All the buildings are wrapped. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Your house
Little
looks
do you-
like a Jiffy Pop thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little do you know that's just propaganda to help their beams like focus you more directly. You know.
It's actually a scam from Big Aluminum.
Yeah.
Big aluminum foil.
Yep.
All right. Then another story here. So a final release of popular open source IRC client HexChat. Did we talk about that already? I think we did talk about that.
Huh?
That
Yes, we did.
Yeah, because it's actually was you, Chris. So this is still in my
Mhm.
feed. How have you been able to manage now with the last HexChat? Are you all done now? Because you're not a technical user, and people who are
You
technical
know,
certainly don't use IRC.
I actually installed MIRC.
So you already jumped the HexChat ship, huh?
Mhm. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yep, I have.
And how do you feel about this? Do you feel like you've betrayed your roots?
No.
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 A few years ago, I switched to IRC Cloud, and that's been pretty good for me
IRC
since
Cloud.
then. Mm-hmm.
So this way it kind of treats IRC like any other chat thing. You can
Yeah.
okay.
I just pay $5 for it, and it works really well for everything that I have. It just comes up, and I don't even have to think about it. So I appreciate having that option because I've had other things, whether for the Android or different devices I had to use different apps. But it's nice to be able to use one thing for everything I have.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a link to that?
I do. Oh, no, no, computer. Oh.
'Cause that'd be kind of cool. I don't want IRC to die. I hope it doesn't. I hope it just sticks around in some form. That it doesn't completely go
I
away.
still have HexChat. I haven't used it in a long. I mean, I used it yesterday, but I haven't used it regularly in years. Let me post that. 'Cause, I mean, it took me a while to even get the hang of it, so I definitely wasn't really quick to leave it in the dust.
So besides Chris and Swift, does anybody here else use IRC?
Man, I haven't used IRC in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a little bit for me. I like IRC though.
Wow.
So I literally I still have a channel on IRC. I mean, I've had a channel on IRC for over 10 years. That's all before Telegram and Discord and all that.
Mhm.
That's where my roots are. So
Like a for the nerds IRC chat.
sure do.
Yeah.
It's been all this time.
I have very fond memories of IRC. I just like, if I were to download a client today, I wouldn't even know what servers to go to or what channels would be hopping.
Really?
I don't know what would be on there that I really want to get into,
So when were you actually using IRC?
late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh,
So it was a while back. I've used it off and on randomly here and there where it's like, oh, I'm going to go check out, this software vendor's IRC channel.
Because I
Usually
didn't-
there's like
Wow.
60 people who are in the channel with like one message a day.
right.
Or there'd be like a week where like there's 2 messages and then all of a sudden there's 30,000, but it's
Wow.
really someone had an issue and they're being helped, which is cool.
Pretty much.
But you know,
It's like-
eventually you just forget to log in one day and then don't log in the next day, and eventually you just stop using it again.
To the sunset.
It's kind of like, oh, which one was
BBS
Really?
message boards.
Alexa? Stop.
Oh, thank God, my thing's off.
Alexa's
Who
listening.
was that? Was it the XFCE chat was dead on IRC? But there was like a lot of people in GNOME and KDE's IRC chat. It was so weird.
Yeah,
Or
and-
So
maybe
I didn't start using IRC until like 2011, somewhere
Yep.
around that time. So I'm still relatively, compared to most people, probably use it.
mine was back in the Perillo days. So we're talking like 08, 09.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He made the Chumby.
So
What?
I don't know if this is still a thing.
Let me
I
see.
do remember in like the mid 2000s, anyone who ran a game server, there was like a live log on an IRC channel of what was happening in game, and that was always cool.
I think Discord kind of chomped away at that one.
Yeah, makes sense. But it was cool, you know, be like, oh, cool, there's, 5,000 people on and a lot of action happening. Yeah, you couldn't really follow it if it was a popular server. There was just too much stuff going on, but it was still cool.
Yeah, I've used IRC. I remember I used IRC when I used the Amiga in the 90s, and then I stopped using IRC, and until I got into Linux, I used it a little bit. Then I fell away from it, and then I came back to it and fell away. And I've never really been consistent in IRC for whatever reason. For a while there, like about 6-8 years ago, I was very consistent in IRC, and then Telegram, and then Telegram. The Matrix, I guess, but I'm not really consistent in Matrix either.
Yeah.
Adam, nice to see your avatar. You're so excited today, I see. It's great. You're very happy.
Excitement, trauma, it's all the same.
Oh, he died?
No, Adam didn't die.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, he's doing well. Good enough, I guess.
Okay.
So Adam, you have to punch your computer, like break a fan or something to bring the specs down a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked.
Sweet.
Turns out you can punch soldered RAM and it doesn't go anywhere.
It's true.
How's it going?
Great. Anything exciting in the world of Adam Grubbs that you want to share with the class?
Stuff I could share, it's just not the place.
Oh.
Probably funny, whatever it is.
Yeah.
No,
I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Questions? What was that?
Playing any cool games lately?
I started playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I often mispronounce as Afterbirth. I'm not thinking about it. But yeah, I started playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Didn't get super far, but it's a pretty neat game. It's like a reimagining trilogy of Final Fantasy VII, from the PS1, right?
So I think I know the answer to this question, but do Phoenix Downs work at the end of the first disc yet?
I'll tell you when I get there.
Sweet. Yeah.
So there are technically 2 discs, 2 4K Blu-rays of it, but like you got to install both, so I don't think there's like a disc transition, so to speak.
Yeah, that makes sense. So on the PlayStation, the end of the first disc was when Eris was killed.
Not
Right.
Eris.
So
Yeah.
So supposedly, there's a way in this Rebirth to not have her die.
Whoa.
So, like I said, it's not a 1-for-1 match of the game. There's a lot of
Gotcha.
differences. So
I played the Switch version of Final Fantasy VII, and they added in a button you could hold down to speed up time and skip battles.
yeah.
And that would, dude, I was like, all right, yeah, this is playable because I do not have like 100 hours.
Right.
So I was kind of
Sit
cool.
there and watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like this just has cheats built in. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Because I played through that game a lot, when I was like little. But without Game Shark, I don't know that I would have beat it like 30 times.
Good old Game Sharks.
Yep.
The one I had was the one that plugged into the parallel port on the back of the PlayStation. You had to have an older PlayStation to have
Yeah,
use it.
yeah. Yep. Did the same thing. And now I forgot the website. There was a very popular website that you could look up Game Shark codes, and Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII was like 90% of the codes on there because there was so many.
Right.
That's wild.
That was cool. Yeah.
So the
I did pick up some e-waste. That
Oh.
was fun.
What kind of e-waste?
Yeah, 16-inch M3 Max MacBook Pro.
That's not e-waste. That's kind of fun.
Is it not?
I mean,
It's not what you would define e-waste?
probably I mean, I wouldn't e-waste it if it worked.
Me neither.
Or now.
No.
I did pick that up. It's pretty great. It's
What do
amazing.
you do with it?
Use it.
I'm on a
Just-
MacBook
just as
Pro
it is?
right now.
Yeah, like use, exploit, like abuse. Yeah, no, it's yeah, just like it's gonna be like my normal machine, and my Alienware is just gonna be for gaming stuff.
Okay.
It's, yeah, much better solution, I feel. Not having nearly a kilowatt of energy being used while I'm trying to use things, right? That Alienware has like a 1350 watt power supply. It doesn't use that much, but
it could.
if I'm playing Cyberpunk, pretty high settings there with path tracing and all that, we do hit about 880 watts. So
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
4090 is a hog.
What are you doing to measure that? What are
Adding
you
numbers?
doing? You're just adding numbers together?
Yeah. So there's like power readings for the various like bits inside of it,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
I just add those together. Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious how much, my computer uses.
Yeah, so there's that, and then the monitor itself is like 100 some watts, and I'm sure the peripherals are all of it as well. And
Yep.
so yeah, probably close to a kilowatt of energy playing Cyberpunk.
So I see your hand raised. Is it Gabrielle?
Hi, good night. Yes. So I'm new. I'm staying up here. We're gonna like
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not coming in clearly. Maybe check your microphone. So
Still not hearing me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, good night. I was saying I'm new, so I was wondering if you could tell me, what thing.
Well, I could hear you, and then it kind of like turned into digital something.
Charlie Brown.
Yeah, kind of like that. So I don't know. I may have to check it. It's a little bit.
All right. Still not hearing me all?
No,
It's not really coming through.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm not putting it.
Yeah, maybe. Not sure how to help you.
it's got some background noise too.
That might be Dr. Love there.
Oh, Dr. Love.
Yeah, I think he's got.
Calling Dr. Love. Calling Dr. Love.
Well, then it's gone.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You're here, buddy. Yeah, you sound okay.
So I think. Swift,
Yeah, I am.
You put in the chat this Chumby. I remember the Chumby. That's a pretty. What year did the Chumby come out? And how can there still be
Wow.
Chumbies?
It's been a long time.
That was a
'Cause
neat.
I remember coming across it somehow on YouTube, and that's why when he said Chris Perillo, I made that connection. I was like, "Oh, Chumby," and it popped up in my head, and that's why I looked it up. But I haven't looked it up in over 10 years, so it's like,
Yeah, Chumby's pretty cool. It was a neat device from another era. Can't remember when it came out though. But
So they
but somehow it's like
liquidate.
run by community at this point.
Yes.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So it's still usable. It's just not something that's. I mean, it's pretty much been phased out. You know, by other things. I mean, we got these phones that are like way better. So.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can find a way to use old hardware, it's kind of fun.
Oh, I agree. Everything I have is old.
Mm.
So,
The old stuff is fun. Yeah, so I got a new side plates for my PS5. My oldest, he wanted to give it the same colors as the PS1. Is that weird? So instead of
wow.
white, he wanted that gray color of the
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
PS1.
yeah.
And I'm not sure I've never had a PS1 before. He's never played on a PS1 before.
That's why I was like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure he knows what a PS1 looks
He
like, right?
does, yeah. Yeah. He specifically wanted the PS1 color. So we got it
There
from
was a 20, I think it was the 20th anniversary. Yeah, 20th anniversary PlayStation 4 that was like really hard to get because they only made a few of them, but they were the PlayStation Gray, and they had like the colored PlayStation logo on it, and like the little like triangle, circle, cross, and square like shapes all over it, and like really small texture and stuff. It was really cool, but they only made like I think less than 500 of them or something.
Oh, just for the absolute PlayStation enthusiast.
Yeah, for the Sony ponies. Yeah.
Sony ponies. Yeah. So, I've never actually played a PlayStation 1, but my understanding is the early ones, which had the additional ports, they were more prone to like warping or overheating. Was that did you ever experience that with your PS1, Adam?
Yeah, I had to end up turning mine upside down to
Yeah,
get it
yeah,
to
that
read
was it.
discs.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Was
Because I had a
Wow.
pretty
So,
early one. Like I had the model that, not the one that had the RCA jacks on it. It was the model after that, so it still had the parallel port.
Mm-hmm.
They hadn't gotten rid of that yet, but they got rid of the integrated RCA jack. So it was like the second model revision
First
was the
one.
one I had, and like, yeah, it warped over time, and I had to flip it over to get it to read discs.
oh, whoa. Okay, so I had a PlayStation 1 with a parallel port and it stopped reading discs. And it also had a mod chip, so I really wanted to use that one. I had a second PlayStation 1 that I took the disk drive out of and put it in the first one, but it was a different shape, so I couldn't put the case back on properly.
Oh
And I
no.
had to like leave the disc exposed and then like shim something in so it would think that the door was closed so I could
No.
still use it. I never thought about putting it upside down. I didn't know.
Yeah, that would have solved your problem most likely.
Good to know. But that's why I don't have a PlayStation 1 anymore. After that I wouldn't have thrown it away, but I'm pretty sure that a family member was like, this is trash.
Wow. I actually went with one of my buddies to KB Toy Store to get his PlayStation 1. He was so pressed to get it. Oh my goodness. And we went, his dad gave him the money for it, and we went to get it. And then we played it out the end, but he didn't have any games, so we just played the demos.
The demos were pretty great though.
hmm
That's like 15 one-level games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the Sega Channel was still a thing back then.
Sega Channel.
Yeah, I just came upon a Sega Saturn. I have not powered it up yet, and I don't need another project. But isn't that one of those like
Which model is it? What color is it?
it's black?
Oh, so North America. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
had a Sega CD at one time.
I was always fascinated by the Power Tower Genesis thing where you had like the the
Mhm.
Genesis on top. Then he
Oh,
had
the 32X and the
yeah, and it's yes, and then
CD and everything. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
stack, the 3 layer
Yeah.
stack.
And all of the power cables and all of the video cables.
And how things had to be like
Wow.
cycled
Yeah.
through. That's
Yep.
pretty
There's
wild.
like you have the power for the Genesis, power for the CD, power for the 32X. Then
Mhm.
you got a cable that goes from the 32X to the Genesis, then now from the Genesis to the TV.
Virtual fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. If you had the Sega CD, the Genesis, the 32X, a Game Genie, Sonic and Knuckles, and then a game on top of Sonic and
Yeah.
Knuckles, dude,
Yeah.
if you stood up off of the couch too fast or anywhere in the house, somebody moved too quickly, that whole thing it would freeze.
You gotta put
Because the
virtual
games would just
racing on the top. It's all this.
Wow.
no. Good to know.
Yeah, virtual racing was abnormally tall because it was the SVP chip in it. So put that on the
You
very
remember
top.
that game called Calibri?
Mm-mm.
The Hummingbird game that was for the 32X.
No, I never played the 32X.
Oh.
Yeah. I only ever just saw them. I never actually, that was kind of a time in my life when I sort of faded away from console gaming. I was kind of more into PC gaming at the time. So, so yeah, I sort of like missed out on a lot of that. I'm only now revisiting it again with the, thanks to the internet.
So were you playing Prince of Persia?
Never played that.
Oh.
No. That looks like a good one though.
Oh.
No. Could be fun.
My audio all right? Just out of curiosity.
What's that?
Yeah. It's great.
My audio good?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, your audio's fine, yeah. I just said something otherwise.
Yeah, I'm actually using the built-in mic, by the way.
Built into the Mac that you got?
The laptop, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's pretty nice.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I was testing it this morning and I was like, whoa, like that's what it sounds like.
Wow.
Oh, and there's a dishwasher going as well.
Yeah,
Dude, that's a good microphone.
there's got to be some equalization
Wow.
going on there on the operating system end.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it's obviously not hardware because they're tiny little microphones.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
yeah,
They're pretty great.
Yeah, that's pretty astounding actually.
I got it on Monday laptop. What was great is I took it out of the box and set it up, and it had about 70% battery, and I used it until 10:30. I got it at 10:30 in the morning, and I used it till 10:30 at night. Still had about 20% battery left.
Wow,
Oh.
what were you doing with it?
Everything. Like watching videos, browsing the web, doing coding, installing apps, everything. It gets about I average. I'm a pretty heavy user, and I average about 12 to 15 hours.
Wow.
Oh,
And
that
screen
is
brightness
impressive.
was like 50%, 60%.
Good night. That's a dream.
And what machine is this again?
It's the 16-inch M3 Max MacBook Pro.
You ain't playing.
That's a brand new one, isn't it?
Yeah, it came out in October, I think, of
Okay.
2023.
I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard people play games on the Mac, like particularly things like Cyberpunk. Have you
Yeah.
tried that out?
I have played some games. I played No Man's Sky. That one's a native one, and that runs at like high settings. I played it on my Alienware OLED, so 3440 by 1440, ultra wide. Played it on that at high settings, full resolution, like easily 120 frames a second. It was pretty impressive. Like the GPU on here
120.
is serious business. Yeah, the GPU on here is solid. And I did play some lighter games like Risk of Rain 2 and stuff in parallels, and those seem to work pretty well as well. Very playable. That's a Windows VM that's optimized for running on the Mac. So I'm playing a DirectX game in a Windows VM on an Apple Silicon Mac
Wow.
at like 60 frames a second. So yeah, that'll do. And that's a Windows on ARM VM, by the way. So it's translating x86 to Windows on ARM, then to the Apple Silicon through the VM.
I mean, that's impressive. I have to tip my hat to the technical
So that's my tower of power, by the way. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we're talking about an M chip which has integrated graphics, right?
Yeah. So it's built-in GPU, yeah. No dedicated GPU or anything. It's entirely just a ARM SoC.
So how long do you think it's going to take before the AMD slash Intel side of things are going to be able to put a dent in that?
So I wanna take you on a little journey here. This was all last week. I was thinking about buying a new laptop, of course, which I ended up getting one. But I looked high and low, and like I would be happy to share my search and YouTube history, looking at all of the different laptops I looked at, and they were all PC laptops. So I was like, I don't know if I want to get a MacBook, right? Like I want to get a nice PC laptop. And I looked at everything: Asus's stuff, Dell stuff, Alienware stuff. I looked at ultra portables. I looked at bigger machines, gaming laptops, everything. And it was nothing but an exercise in compromise the whole time. And the whole time I'm like, I don't want to get a Mac. Like it was in the back of my mind, but I just don't want to get that, right? And I was looking at the Spectre X360s from HP. Those are pretty nice. And they get good battery life because they're using the Core Ultras, right? The newer Intel CPUs.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, it gets about 9 hours of battery life, which is like half of what the Apple ones get. And I then saw like a review and I looked at a few others to verify the numbers, and it was like quite often like half the performance of a base M3. And like not even the Pro or the Max version, the base M3. And I'm like, so I can get a PC that has decent battery life, but I have to baby it in performance and the screen brightness. And I was like, man, is it really just this dire? Is it this bad? And like AMD CPUs have better battery life than Intel's, but they're also not in as many laptops, funny enough. So it's kind of hard to find premium machines that have AMD in them. And that's kind of a bummer. But even then, the same kind of caveat happens. So so Nessa had got a MacBook, actually the identical one that I have here, and she really enjoys it, and like it worked really well. And I was like, man, I was jealous as hell when she got it. I was looking at it like really enviously. And so like she got that, and I was just sitting there like, am I really about to get a Mac? Am I really about to do this? And so I decided to sleep on it. And like I was like, if I'm gonna sleep on it, if in the morning I still want to get it, then I'll go ahead. And like I slept on, thought about it, went to sleep, woke up in the morning, took a piss, got my drink, whatever, and then like I looked at my phone, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. So I ordered store pickup that day at the Apple store, and here we are. And like, cause I really wanted to get a PC, but like, man, the landscape, unless you want a gaming laptop, the landscape is garbage. Like it's not even close. Not even close.
Well,
now if you want gaming, obviously that's what you get, right? But
right. So I'm curious, like, when are you going to install like Asahi on there?
Yeah. You're a funny one, Mr. Wolf. You're a funny one.
Why? I think that's a great.
That's a terrible idea.
Why is it a terrible idea? That's what
How you think these microphones are going to sound on Asahi? How's it going to be when my speakers blow because Asahi can't get them right? Like, come on. They're doing admirable work. I appreciate their work. I think they do amazing. Like the pace at which they've advanced is incredible.
And they've even helped Apple out with some bugs on their stuff
I was
too.
about
So
to bring that out.
yeah,
that's good. Still not going on my machine.
Ha!
Not even like a dual boot, or maybe some kind of no.
Nah.
Okay, well,
I mean, if I want to run Linux, I'll just run it on like my PC hardware. Like, it just seems like a silly trial to like make some of my functionality that I paid for. If I wanted to run Linux, I'd run it on my PC hardware. If I wanted a halfway machine, I would have bought one of those PCs I was just talking about.
I understand. Yeah.
Halfway machine.
Yeah,
Dude,
But you could also put Linux on as a VM, right? That would work pretty well.
Yeah, I do. I actually have a Fedora 39 VM, and it runs spectacularly. It runs just as fast as it does on my desktop.
Nice.
Yes. I had a MacBook probably about 10 years ago, just gifted to me. And I never installed Linux on it, but I did run Linux in virtual machines all day. And even on that hardware, that was great.
Yeah,
So
Parallels is an amazing piece of software for the Mac. Like Parallels is, I like KVM on Linux, but it ain't Parallels. I like VMware Workstation, it ain't Parallels. I don't like VirtualBox, so it's not
Have you
Parallels.
used
But
UTM?
yeah, I'm familiar with it, but it just doesn't offer the same feature set. Obviously, it's free. You know, if you
Yeah.
have to go through the elbow grease of setting it up, but if you have the money, you just buy Parallels.
Mhm.
I think the last Macintosh I had was an iMac G5.
Heck.
The big white ones, right?
Yeah. I still have
The
it.
thick boys.
Is that with the rounded base?
Nope, no. This is it's got the kind of
No, it's
the
like an
flat.
all-in-one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No,
I
I know.
You're talking about the G4, the one that looks like a lamp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing a meme image a long time ago of a PowerBook G5, and it was like a PowerBook G4, but they just like stretched the base to look like 6 inches thick because the heat was so bad on those. It looked like about the size of like a Mac Studio, just this big brick with the laptop on top of it. Because that's the only way you would have got a G5 in a laptop.
I had a buddy that had several Emacs. That was interesting. Those ones for the schools.
Yeah,
And I was looking up and I was like, I'm not opening that thing up.
and those had some good CRTs though.
Oh,
I think they were Trinitrons.
they were heavy though.
That's good times right there.
I miss CRTs.
Do you?
You can
Yeah,
have
I kind of do. Like, so I have an OLED monitor, right? And I'm just thinking all of the benefits of OLED were already there on a CRT. Super fast response times, deep blacks, all that good stuff. And like, would have been way better if we just made giant CRTs.
wow.
It would have also, been like 400 pounds if it was like that big. But
Exactly. That reminds me of those projection TVs they had back in the day.
yeah, the big box. Those were
No
never
way.
good.
No.
Those were never good.
I actually think it's. So my dad died of a heart attack. I actually think it's because of one of those big TVs. It's like one of like it was a really huge CRT, like
The rear
widescreen.
projection. Yeah.
No, it was
Oh,
like
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it was like a really heavy one. And
The HD CRTs, yeah.
yeah, and I think that gave him a stroke, which ultimately killed him.
Like
Bring it in
trying
the
to pick it
house.
up.
Yeah, bring it in the house. Yeah, I think that's actually what did him in. I don't know that for sure. I'm spitballing here, but
Okay.
but no, I think I have a dead iMac G5, and I think it'd be fun to like gut that thing and put something else in there.
I got a dead original what's that thing called? Oh, a dead original MacBook Pro. I mean, no, a dead original Mac Pro from like 2006 that was gifted to me. And yeah, I wish I could use that case. I love the case.
Yeah, it's something that Mac's been really good about industrial design.
Yeah,
Case
to
is
a point. They're even better now that they got rid of Johnny Ive. Let's be honest.
Oh,
Yeah, hey guys, let's put our charging port on the bottom of a mouse. That'll work.
dumb.
Well, I didn't say
Or the
function-
Apple Pencil. Yeah, let's plug in the eraser end and let it just stick out of the tablet like moron. That
Okay.
guy, he had some good designs like in the early days, but like his like quest for like thin minimal stuff led to some awful, awful products.
Okay, so you can't always bat 1,000, but I think like overall, when you look at an Apple, even throughout the time from the very beginning, I will go ahead and say from the Apple II onward, they've always had something unique about the design.
Oh yeah, certainly. And about the batting 1,000 thing, you don't always bat 1,000, but you need to know when to retire.
Oh.
Well, that's kind of rough, but I think I get what you're saying.
But yeah, no, they definitely have good design like overall over the years, right? Like that iMac G4 that Swift was talking about. That thing is cool, right? Who wouldn't want? Actually, I saw an Action Retro video today where he was putting an M2 logic board, like an M2 Mac Mini, into one of those iMac G4s, and it was awesome.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Action Retro is great. Did you see?
Yeah.
You see, like, you took an industrial controller and turned it into a laptop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That
It
was
was,
ridiculous.
oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard. It was so silly. I couldn't help it. Like,
I love his like bubbly delivery of
right,
everything too, because
yeah,
it's like it's almost the most inappropriate response, but yeah.
yeah. It's like I appreciate it because it's like a very optimistic, like insanely optimistic viewpoint of things, and that for everything. So it works for me. So speaking of optimistic things, it's probably time to talk about next week, because this is the part that always takes the longest. So next week is a distro exploration. Has there been anything out there that's been particularly interesting or intriguing to anybody as of late? There's been a lot of developments in various areas of Linux. I wasn't sure. I know, like, Pop has some new things boiling. There's a lot of things are switching over to Wayland. I don't know if there's anything that maybe someone's excited about. Solus, does Solus have any updates, Swift?
Nothing in particular. I mean, I just updated on my T420, and I need to go on my PC and do that too. But nothing spectacular that I know of. Not that I've checked, but I don't know of anything.
See, we're looking at Distro Watch. Let's see if anything here excites anybody.
Distro Watch, that's taking it.
Okay, Zorin. There's a new release of Zorin.
Mhm.
That's something.
I mean, there has been a new release of Solus not terribly long ago, but not super recent.
So there's also a beta release of OpenSUSE Leap. So there's that. We haven't done a BSD in a while, have we? If ever.
We have only done one. Ghost BSD. That was the only one we did.
Ghost BSD. So FreeBSD has just had a release, 13.3. That's pretty exciting. Oh, Scrapjaw's potentially joining here. Scrapjaw, long time no see. How are ya? There's a Linux from scratch. Not interested. Let's see. KDE Neon with their KDE6. Go ahead. What's that?
You're not going to explore Linux from scratch?
Nope. I skipped
you don't
over
think everybody's going to have the same experience, notice different little things?
that. By same experience, you mean like nobody got anywhere? Kind of same experience?
Yeah, and you might, just depending on how much time you have, you might need more than a week to plan for that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So there's
Got it.
KDE Neon. Not interested in that. Well, I don't know. Nothing terribly exciting. I mean, OpenSUSE is always exciting to me, but that's just me. So, and it's a beta, so it's not ready yet. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning toward FreeBSD. We haven't done a BSD in a while. I know it's Linux Saloon, but BSD is kind of like your your angry cousin, FreeBSD. No, nothing. Not even a chuckle.
I haven't even heard of half of these
Oh,
on this list.
Somebody
I'm eating a Tim Tam.
did suggest we try a BSD a while back, but I said I don't know because Goes BSD didn't go too well.
Have you guys ever done OMV for Open Media Vault?
No.
It's just like a NAS. I mean, I think it's based on Debian, just built to be a NAS.
I think might be some challenges in that. Like, does you have like a specific hardware for such a thing?
I love that
No,
you pronounce it like the rapper's name. I appreciate that.
I don't know how else to say it, man. I don't know. But it's just Debian. Like it's based on Debian, so I think it runs on anything.
So Leo says
Whether it's useful
says-
to anybody, you know, it's
yeah, OMV is fantastic. He says. So if Leo says it, it must be gospel.
So is this a server?
Yeah, it's a server. I ran it on my Raspberry Pi.
Mhm. I run it at work just as something easy to throw up.
Like in a VM.
Yeah. Yep.
Open Media Vault, huh?
You know, a vault isn't really all that useful if you just leave it open.
Huh.
Oh, you can just put a lot of stuff in it, but people can get it. Yeah.
Not
So-
safe, but it is convenient.
Well, I mean, it keeps some people out, I suppose. So it's you said Open Media Vault. All one word. Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? The origin is Germany, so it must be good. Like bratwurst. All right, let's give that a go. Open Media Vault. So, however you want to spin that up, I suppose. I might have some hardware I can use that. So, Jenny, you said you ran on a Raspberry Pi?
Yeah, I ran it on a Raspberry Pi a long time ago just for fun.
So no desktop, just as a web UI.
Mhm.
All right. Well, golly, that was a lot less painful than I thought it would be. So next week, our distro exploration will be Open Media Vault. Maybe somebody will have a. It says it's like a NAS-like. I truly don't know anything about it. So let's see. It says, what is Open Media Vault? Open Media Vault is a next-generation network-attached storage solution based on Debian Linux. It contains services like SSH, SFTP, SMB, CIFS, so Samba, and what's CIFS? I can't remember what that is again. rsync and any
SMB,
others.
basically.
Okay. So thanks to modular design of the framework, it can be enhanced via plugins. Open Media Vault is primarily designed to be used in small offices or home offices, but is not limited to those scenarios. It's a simple and easy to use out-of-the-box solution that will allow everyone to install and administrate a network-attached storage without deeper knowledge. Well, very cool. I think I have a spare Pi that I could probably do this on. If that's a thing. Is that a thing? A Pi?
Is that like a different project for the Pi? Because I don't see the
Yeah, I don't see the Pi one either.
ISO for that, or like the image.
Sounds like a perfect thing to install on a Mac M3. That's for sure. It's about as good as you can do with a Mac.
Yeah, I'll run it in Docker. I'll be all right.
Okay, well, very cool. All right, I'll have to not download it now because that'll probably kill my internet connection. Can't have that.
So I'm looking for Open Media Vault as a Docker image, but I'm not coming up with any hits.
No.
So you got to build your own image, man.
It's DUI.
Yeah,
I can run that as well.
I've not done anything with it other than install it, like from the ISO. Either I've done both a virtual machine and on a host, but not on a Raspberry Pi.
So Open Media Vault Docker container. I have that. See if this. Well, I don't know if it works, but there you go, and I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you, sir.
So Docker name Open Media Vault. Yeah. Don't know if it's gonna work, but there you go.
You can always make your own image. Just make your
Yeah.
own Docker file, build it. It's all good.
Yeah, I can do that just like that. Well, Steve has been here. He hasn't said anything, and Scrap. Nice to see you again. How are things?
Been pretty well. You can hear me all right?
Yeah, sound great.
Cool. Yeah. Job switches, working from home, doing all the things, and still running OpenSUSE per your recommendation.
Well, great. So, and
Um,
and do you hate me now? Is that why you've been gone for so long? Because of that suggestion, or?
No, it's been good. I'm on my desktop right now, but I've had it on my Razer laptop. The only thing I found is finicky is the external monitor stuff is goofy. But I recently used that laptop with OpenSUSE. I took my 4-unit rack with my audio gear in it, and I dumped a bunch of like stuff like a USB hub and everything in there, microphones and all kinds of stuff. And I went and did a Airbnb broadcast on a Discord that I'm a part of. It was kind of fun. We had a party and did some stuff for another event, but yeah, we ran it with Linux. We ran it with the Penguin Power for sure.
Sweet.
It was good.
That's pretty awesome.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah. So this running on Penguin Power. What was that? Also an OpenSUSE machine?
That's well, that's what that is. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
running
okay.
OpenSUSE on all the things. I was saying Penguin Power because it's Linux, right?
Oh, okay. Have you ever used the application called Mix MIXXX? I think is what it's called. It's like a DJing software.
No, I haven't. I have not.
Yeah. So I had to do an event for like it was like for a bunch of youth, and I'm not so good with the youths, but I when I'm asked to help out, I help out. So I was Mr. DJ, and it's been a while since I wasn't actually spinning any records or throwing any DVDs in, but I played a few songs here and there. I like. Have you heard of Skrillex? It's like a dubstep. Yeah, I kind of like that. So it exhausts me if I listen to it for too long, but I kind of like that sort of music. So it's fun.
Little scary monsters and nice sprites.
Yeah.
There was a band called Pimpinel. The drummer or the bass player, Nathan Navarro. They did that song with a live band, and he does all of that crazy wub wub bass with an actual bass and
Really?
effects. Yeah, you should go look it. I'll send you.
Cool.
Wow. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I figured that
It's
was all done
impressive.
like with processors inside a
Source Audio has the MIDI controller that's a ring. It goes on your hand, and it has accelerometers and angle detection. And so you take the pedal and you hook it up to their other pedals, and he controls the filter. Wow, 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 wow. That stuff with his hand. So when he's got a fretless bass, he finger taps, and then he's doing the wub wub with his hand motion. It's all cool. It sounds
cool.
goofy, but it looks cool.
Yeah, who does that?
It's Nathan Navarro is the bass player. Just look up Skrillex, Nathan Navarro. I think the band he played with is called Pinel. They were like a dubsteppy, like metal, almost metal rock group. They had some pretty wild stuff going on.
Cool. I'll check that out.
Let's look that up.
Pretty cool. So, dude, I used Mix back in the day at Goodwill once. I found it was a USB MIDI turntable thing with just like two little turntables.
Yeah.
And Mix is what I found that I could use with it, and it was a lot of fun for like a weekend or 2 weeks. But I'm definitely not a DJ or a musician at all, But it was a good time.
Yeah, I think radio DJ was a past life thing for me. So
I don't know if you can see, but I found a 3D printed frame to put this Akai MIDI controller on, and then my Korg Nano control up here that controls jack mixer. And then I use Reaper with this, and I can do like a loop station.
Cool.
I have the sustain pedal set up as a switch to activate and to for the looping. So I can select the different channels to loop on on the drum pads up here, and then when I want to, begin the loop and end the loop, I have the switch for the sustain pedal next to my pedal board now. It's
Wow.
been fun playing with that. That's my latest kind of Frankenstein project.
That's awesome. Sounds
Yeah.
like a fun project. I guess you have to have like the base layer skill, which is musical talent, and then you can put these things on top of it.
Oh, dude, it's still so much fun without that musical talent piece. Just nobody else that's around you will think it's that fun.
Because you
Yep.
don't have the musical talent to do something with it.
That's
Right.
those are the kind of people you need for a guitar tech. The guitar techs don't have to know how to play; they just have to know how things all fit together. That's
Right.
it.
I have an old Korg here. It's a N364. It needs some work. So that's one of the things that's on my list that I want to get to this year at some point.
Anyway, here, I'll turn the big light on. Now you can actually see it.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
So I found the main part of the frame on some random 3D print website,
Mhm.
and then I went into Tinkercad and I just added these little forks, and
Oh,
I
nice.
just sorted in. It was really nice.
It's pretty
I know you're
durable.
into the 3D printing.
Yes. I was actually just messing with the 3D print that didn't work out for me for holding safety glasses. But
Here's a cool idea for a 3D print. That's down. So I did. Some of us were going to an event, but we rented an Airbnb, and we wanted to have a little more fun with our stay. And so a bunch of us we came around from the country to split this Airbnb, and I made us all invites or like little tags with
Oh, nice.
working QR. They have working QR codes on them, and they're 2-layer. It's the first time I ever changed the color of the filament on my printer. Put like 2 or 3 layers down, and then it switches, and it's a single layer of black on it. And these actually work. It's kind of fun.
that is fun.
Yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Q-
Good to see you.
QR codes are quite useful.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well,
Oh, Steve, do you have anything you want to throw in there, or you just came here for the lulls?
Oh, I came here for the crafts and giggles.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Well, it is
Better than barbecuing alone.
That's true. That's true. That is true. All right. Well, I just want to go around and see if anybody has anything else they want to say before we kind of close this thing out. So, Chris, you've been quiet lately, Mr. Mate. How you doing, man? Did you have fun tonight? Sort of.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you came and you
Thank
heard,
you.
and I'm glad that Leo was able to give you the good news about Mate being pushed into the next era of desktop and display systems, or whatever. So
Right.
good times, good times.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Thanks for being here, Eris.
Thank you.
How glad you could be here. Thank you for the straw poll. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
Jinda,
Yes.
do you have anything you want to plug?
Not that I can think of.
All right.
I tried.
Yeah. That's what you're plugging. I tried.
I tried. That's
Yeah.
it.
Dr. Love. So glad you could be here. Could take the time off from all the doctoring that you do.
Yeah. Good to be.
Yeah. Then Swift. So you're still do you still actively maintain then that IRC group for like
Yeah.
Is there much traffic on there now, or is it pretty much all
I've
linked to
actually
Telegram?
been growing it lately. It's actually been growing lately, and hopefully I can get more people in there.
Well, if you want to share a link to your IRC or whatever it is you want to share a link to, can do
Yeah.
that and
Let me
kick
do
that out there.
that now.
That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
that'll be my excuse to get a check out an IRC client again. Why not? Maybe use my Commodore 64. Chat only with my Commodore 64 on the IRC client.
Cool.
Well, Brian, thanks for joining. Glad you could be here. Must have like gotten really sad and boring over there in Washington for you for a little bit for you to take the time.
Well, it's a combination of that, and I was just able to get away, so we'll hop on. Now, I do have something important I'd like to bring up.
Oh yeah.
How do you guys pronounce the shorthand form of network attached storage? Just want to make sure I'm saying it the way everybody
NAS.
else says it.
I say NAS, yeah.
NAS.
Okay.
Because like if you say nasty,
Keep saying it like the rapper. Keep saying, don't let none of this
Nas.
happen. Keep saying Nas.
I mean, if you don't have many drives in it, you could definitely call it a little Nas. That's
funny. Well, I've always said NAS because it's like if you put a T and a Y, it'd be nasty. So that's why I always thought of it as such. And yeah, glad you could be here. Wasn't sure if there's anything else that in your part of the world that's going on that excites you. I don't know if you want to share at all that your adventures in tearing apart a switch and installing a network switch.
Yeah, so I'll probably share more about that later once I get a little bit further into that project.
Okay,
I'm
I think it's pretty cool.
documenting what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
what was the
good
brand?
times.
What was the brand of that switch?
So I don't know if I'm saying this right at all, but it's a Zyxel, something like that. It's I thought it was Chinese. It's Taiwanese. Just pretty for a managed switch. It's pretty inexpensive. Just ordered it online. Clearly, it's not as powerful as like an Aruba or any of the high-end Cisco's or anything like that. But for what it is, it's kind of cool.
What does it cost? What did it cost you?
It was like $250.
Okay. For managed switch. And that's gigabit also?
Gigabit, 24 port PoE.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. Even when comparing it to like, secondhand enterprise switches, it's the same price. And it's instead of 10 years old, it's, they're updated in October or something,
Oh, okay. That's probably pretty important. Well, very cool. Well, yeah, when you get a little further, yeah, please do share. So, Adam, are you going to be starting a Mac Saloon for all you Linux users that are defecting to the Mac side of the house?
Nah, I'm not worried about them. They'll be all right.
The Macs will be? Or all the defectors?
Both.
Yeah. Well,
as long as they think different, they'll be all right.
Well, I wish you all the best of luck with it. So, it is a Mac after all.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I can find out what's a computer, then I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm. And how's that keyboard? Because I have yet to use
it's amazing.
Really? So I've yet to use a Mac keyboard
yeah.
that I didn't hate. So.
Those butterfly ones were awful, but these are much improved. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the way I rank it is like, so I've used lots of Macs over the years, and let me clarify, their actual standalone keyboards I thought have always been pretty great, but their laptop keyboards have kind of been. I think it's like you had Mac keyboards and then you had like budget laptops just slightly above. It's been my experience. So it's nice to know
not this one.
Not this one.
Yeah,
That's
this
good.
one's pretty great. I'd say HP probably has a better keyboard, like an EliteBook keyboard. It's probably a little bit better.
Okay.
But it's above ThinkPad in my opinion, but it's definitely not bad at all.
Well, I mean,
I'd say EliteBook is the top, and then MacBook, and then ThinkPad.
So
you said it's above ThinkPad?
It is above ThinkPad.
You're gonna get a lot of people hating.
So
I can already hear them breathing so hard.
So I think that depends on like ThinkPad when. So I've had ThinkPads that have really great keyboards, and then I've had a new ThinkPad,
all of them,
P16s, which does not have a good keyboard. It's a little
Yeah,
inconsistent.
all of them.
So,
I've tried the old ones and I've tried the newer ones, and it's better than both of those.
The
okay.
new ones definitely suck.
Yeah. So that then the next question is, now when you say good keyboard, is that like what good tasting
It is
coffee?
one that I can type swiftly and confidently with
Okay.
very little mistakes. And the only one that's more comfortable to me is an EliteBook.
So do you think though that like keyboard is a preference thing more than it's a an actual like
I
hard?
think it could be quantified if you
Yeah.
could if the keyboard is stable, spaced out, good amount of travel, the person can type faster and more confidently with less errors on it. I think
Okay.
you can quantify it that way. That if like keys are unstable, like if you hit a corner of it and it doesn't fire, then you miss a character, that kind
Mhm.
of thing, and those kind of qualities. If the travel is too long or too short, you might miss a thing because you mistype and all that. So I think you can quantify it, and you can quantify it in the speed in which someone types and the amount of errors they make.
I find that the keyboard that I bought for my work machine, it's a 100 key, but it's all condensed down. So it has, your number pad and all the things you need for data entry and your arrows. But the keys are a little tight together, and they're yellow switches, so they don't have the clicky like by blue. And I do that all the time. I will ghost notes. I'm playing guitar. Ghost keys all the time, and the space bar doesn't travel straight down if you're too far over one side. Like it'll can't, and it won't even. It won't do the thing. So I'm getting and it's one of those Magi MAG Mage G EE something keyboards.
Yep, I know that one.
And I'm not a fan of the yellows, and I don't know if it's the yellows or it's the fact that the tactilelessness doesn't allow me to be as consistent as I am with this ASIO that I have on my main machine. But I like the small keyboard because it fits on my desk in there. But anyway, I know what you're talking about, Adam. Yeah, definitely the quality of the keyboard, of those keys, and with that space bar, just. And the other thing, let me ask you guys about keyboards, if you're talking about them. Is there something with KVMs that makes a mechanical keyboard freak out? Because the lights on mine will flicker every so often. When they do, it doesn't register.
You're talking about a KVM switch?
Yeah, I have one of those Dell monitors with the
Yeah.
built-in KVM.
Yeah, so actually, a lot of times KVMs implement their own USB hub, so it can present a keyboard and mouse to all of the computers that are connected to it at the same time, even though it'll detach your keyboard. But part of that is a virtual keyboard, so it tries to detect what keystrokes you're entering on your real keyboard, but sends as a virtual keyboard, like over the USB connection to the computer it's connected to. So it's not 100% accurate. And then if you have like special media keys or special functions, they may or may not be implemented on the KVM.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look and see if that's the case. But what I'm noticing is the lights on the backlight on the keyboard will brown out, and when it browns out, it doesn't. It's not. That's when I notice it's not registering just any old key.
So I've noticed the same thing on mine. Sometimes, well, it just like shuts off and then comes back on. It's very frustrating, honestly.
I'm gonna have to try it with this keyboard. I'm gonna swap them and see if there's maybe it's just it doesn't play well. That one particular one. Anyway.
I don't think I've used a KVM and USB actually. I think the last ones I've used were PS2.
These Dell monitors, do you know what? Have you seen them? So they gave us for work from home these 34-inch Dell curved monitors, and they're a 1340 by 1440 with a built-in KVM. They're ridiculous. So again, HP Elite Desk, one of those little guys, that's the machine I use for work. And then I plug in a USB A and my display port, and then I plug all my peripherals, webcam, etc., all that into the monitor. Then it's got a Thunderbolt that runs out for hot desking. So I use it with my personal laptop, so that way I can set that down when I'm not on the clock, and I can have all of my stuff on it. and it works really well. You can actually you can send commands directly through the terminal to the monitor and make it switch back and forth. So I use the KDE Connect, the send command feature for that. But it works pretty well for that. It's just the one feature that's goofy is the keyboard doesn't want to always. It has moments where it forgets where it's at.
What if that's it? Yeah, I don't know. I've not experienced that. I wonder if it's could be a keyboard issue. Like I sometimes have had like where a device didn't like the switcher that it's going through, like whether it's an HDMI switching device or a whatnot. But I don't know if that's the same.
I don't know. Look into those monitors. They're pretty cool. They're not swoop doop for gaming, but they're great for productivity.
Yeah, so Adam will never buy one then. It's not gaming.
Pardon?
You'll never buy a monitor that's not for gaming, right? Productivity only. You probably wouldn't buy that.
If I had a use for it. I mean, I don't do any like content, like, color accurate stuff, so I could see it being useful for that. But otherwise, nah. Once you go high refresh, man, everything else sucks. It just feels really laggy and crappy. And it's sort of like if you're happy with 60, don't get anything more because you will never be able to see 60 again. Just trust me. It's that bad.
I had a lot of 75 at one time, but now everything I have seems to be just 6. What? I have to check another monitor. I think it's higher than that. But Vince, nice of you to join here right at the end. How's your neck of the woods? How's Australia doing? It's getting cold.
Pretty
there
great.
yet? Cooling down.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking forward to it cooling down a little bit this year because we've had a pretty hot summer. Shut up, Steve. Yeah, he's gonna give me crap about me whinging that it's 10 degrees Celsius.
Crikey.
Coming soon. No, I'm doing great. I've been gaming a bit as well. But yeah, been good.
Excellent. Well, glad you could join us. I know you've been doing some traveling recently to was it Vietnam they went to?
Yes.
Yeah,
we went to Vietnam as well.
That was beautiful pictures.
Is the
I
war
try to be here when I can.
Which one?
Maybe in your mind it never ended.
Fortunate Son is playing in my brain.
What's funny is I worked with a guy who his father fought in the Vietnam War. He was Vietnamese. This guy's Vietnamese. He's at least he was. I worked with him. Anyway, his dad was in prison and everything after the U.S. left and everything else. And now we actually, I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but it was kind of from this civilian perspective, the Vietnam War. It was very interesting. Basically, neither side seemed very good from that perspective. So, anyway, I asked him like, well, how do you feel like about what is the general sentiment of like, the Americans being in fighting in Vietnam? Like, is there like resentment there? And he's like, Vietnam's been at war for so long. At that point, like it was the Americans' involvement was such a small sliver of everything else that happened around there. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting, because like for us it's a big deal, but for them, at least from his perspective anyway, not as big of a deal.
Yeah, the French got wrecked there.
Yeah, I guess that whole lots of other issues with their neighbors too, I guess. So I don't know.
Yep.
But hopefully it's not so anymore. At least I would like that anyway.
It's a beautiful place. If anyone gets a chance to go, I'd recommend it.
It's based on the pictures, extremely beautiful. How are the insects there?
They're big.
Yeah, I believe it.
You'd think coming from Australia, I wouldn't have any issue, but I did.
Yeah, I would have thought you would have no issues with that. Everything in Australia is big and trying to kill you, so.
That's really what Americans went over there to fight, the insects.
Wow. They're called Vietnamese, Adam.
Oh, wow. Ouch.
The VC? Are you serious?
Ouch.
I'm gonna tell my wife. I'm gonna tell my wife what you said.
Yeah, she'll love me for that, I'm sure. Taiwan #1.
On that, Steve. Nice for you to join.
Hey.
Are you doing your show tomorrow?
I am.
Yeah.
Just chatting, but I've been trying to learn StreamerBot
Okay.
to work with OBS in Linux. So I'm using Wine for my very very first time.
Okay.
The installation was pretty simple, straightforward, but as typical with a lot of Windows things trying to run on Linux, it's functional. Gotten some cool um, animation. It's designed for engagement from your people in your chat, right? You can do all sorts of things. I uh, been following a OBS plugin creator. His name's Finite Singularity. You can find him on Twitch, and he'll do these streams. And he's working. He was working on that retro plugin I showed you. Sent you a clip in that on. And he just added to that retro plugin a very cool Matrix setup to like the movie The Matrix. And but I took his uh, in the one retro plugin, he has it looks like old TV turning on and off.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Remember that one?
You know, and I was able to uh, make that work remotely from the chat. Like someone just posted in a command. So it's cool. I mean, it's for just like when you're just having like bull BS kind of chats and just having fun. For something like this, what you do, more straightforward in that it could tend to be disruptive. But there's just some really cool stuff to be able to do with it. So that's what I've been kind of trying to get myself to learn. And it's just at the very tip of the iceberg.
Well, cool. Well, I'm assuming then tomorrow morning you'll do some more of that fun business, or is it just a chat tomorrow?
Mostly chat, but I'll show some of the things that I set up with it.
Because I think I saw you went live. I didn't see a notice until after it was done. Was it Thursday or Friday you went live?
Oh no, it was Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, missed it by that much. Well, very cool. All right, so I guess 8:15 tomorrow, Central.
8:30ish.
8:30 Central.
Because we remember we lose an hour tonight.
Oh yeah. Man, it seems like your show keeps sliding a little bit to the right a little bit all the time. It was 8 and 8:10. No,
Yeah,
8:05,
8:30
8:15. Now it's
pretty much
8:30. Yeah. Well, okay. For now. For now.
Let's not forget the 10-minute intro as well.
Oh, right. So it's like we're like 8:40 that it starts.
And the 5 minutes to fix whatever went wrong.
Only 5 minutes? That's a good day.
Right?
I'm trying to be nice.
But was it 2 weeks ago, right? That's when he had almost problems.
Yeah, it's like something like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. It's good times.
It's fun. It's a moving target.
Yeah. Steve's a moving target. Not a fast moving target, but a moving target.
Oh.
But you'd never punch him, hey, Nate?
I never would. Nope. Least punchable face in all the internet. Adam, on the other hand.
Sir.
Oh yeah, and I would deserve it.
Well, thanks for being here, Steve. And Scrap, nice for you to show up. What a great surprise for you to just kind of come on in and show your face.
Oh, I'll play you out too. How's that?
Ooh, that's nice. I like that idea.
Boo 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 boo.
Well, Linux Linux User Space, their next show, if you have not checked them out, is a topic show. They have lots of feedback, and they'll take more if you have it. Though they're scheduled to record this Tuesday. Their last episode, which was released. It was Monday. It was specifically for Chris. It's a Mate history episode. So just for you, Chris, check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I've
already watched it.
Already watched it. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm part of a podcast called Linux Out Loud. I think we record again on Tuesday. So the episode coming out soon. One just released this past week. I have a website called keepitgoinglate.com. I've done some things lately. I kind of dug into some information on anti-cheat and the work in progress on Linux. That was kind of just fun to dig through. And then they also did another article on an ISO image writer it's for a KDE application that works really well. Very simple, basically perfect. And I think last week I did an article on DistroBox with BoxBuddy, inspired by the application Appetizer that we did here on Linux Saloon. So you can check that out if you're interested. So Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network. Check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support, however you do it, whether it's contributing in the YouTube chat or being a part of the Zoom meeting. And I want to thank everyone involved. I want to thank everyone for watching the show after the fact. I want to thank also everyone involved in making the Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy technology. Linux truly puts personal back in a personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers. And please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see yous.
Take care, everyone.
I think it's like, that's all, folks, or so that's so that's a podcast, a Linux podcast, something like that.